it's Chris Allingham with the Virtual Weber Bullet. Today I want to tell you about an experience I had heating up a Franklin brisket barbecue, whole brisket, that I ordered from Goldbelly, reheating it using a sous vide, something I'd never done before. Now before we get too far into this, I should let you know that a Franklin barbecue whole brisket like this one, which is just under 5 pounds, cost me, believe it or not, $270 delivered to my house through Goldbelly. So this is not an everyday occurrence. It's something I did just for fun. I wanted to have an experience for my family, my dad, my brother, my sister, of Franklin barbecue. They'd never been to Austin, Texas. They'd never had it before, and they're not going to get down there for it, and I wanted them to have that experience here at my house. So it was worth the cost, I think, to do it on a one-time basis, but you may feel otherwise. This brisket, ordered through Goldbelly, was delivered by UPS next day delivery to my house. It came in a cardboard box inside of this foil insulated container. And in that container was this gigantic butcher paper wrapped block. And I've put a dinner fork here in the foreground just to give you a sense of how big this is. When you unwrap the outer layer of butcher paper, you find inside another block with 4 ice packs on, 2 ice packs on the top and 2 ice packs on the bottom, total of 4 ice packs. And when you remove the ice packs and that plastic wrap holding it in place, you find yet another butcher paper wrapped item. And inside that is, in fact, the brisket that I just showed you. It is cryovac. It's fully cooked. You can see there's some beef tallow in there with it. The label shows a use or freeze by date of 3/7, which is about a week after I received this brisket. So you either need to reheat it or you need to freeze it within about a week of delivery. Now, here's a close-up of the label. You can see it says that it's fully cooked. It's never been frozen. It did come pretty firm. I would say that if they didn't freeze it before it left, it kind of got a bit frozen or very close to it with the ice packs on both sides. But I guess technically speaking, if they never put it in a freezer and froze it stone cold, then I guess it was never frozen. It warns you to be careful not to overheat your brisket. Otherwise you'll screw it up. And they give you the reheating instructions here for heating in the oven, for heating it on the stovetop, and for heating in the Immersion Circulator, which is what I did. And here it is on a small sheet pan in my refrigerator, waiting for the Sunday when I was going to prepare this for my family event. Also in the box is a bottle of Franklin barbecue sauce, which was included for free. This is the original flavor that he offers. A fun little sticker with his logo, and then a sheet that provides, again, those preparation instructions. On one side, you see a beautiful shot of his storefront there in Austin, Texas. And on the other side, you see the heating instructions again. There's also heating instructions for sausage, which I did not order. You can order some of his link sausage in addition to his brisket. I chose not to do that. I wish I had, but I didn't do that on this particular order. Here's that bottle again of the Franklin Original Barbecue Sauce that's included with the package. And now moving on to my sous vide process. So the instructions for preparing this, according to Franklin, is to heat your Immersion Circulator to 185 degrees and then put the brisket in and drop it down to 165 degrees and to heat it through till it's done, or 75 minutes at a minimum. Here you can see me opening up the top of the Immersion Circulator and putting the brisket inside. The brisket was very tightly cryovac, so it did not want to float, which is nice. I didn't have to weigh it down. I just tucked it in there and put the lid back on. And then I lowered my temperature down to 165, which is the recommended temperature by Franklin. Now, the Immersion Circulator just percolated away for that 75 minutes. And then I held it, I think, for another hour after that at the same temperature of 165 until I was ready to serve it to my family. Now, in preparation, I got out my authentic Franklin tray that I ordered online, and I lined it with butcher paper as he would do. And when I was ready to serve, I took the brisket out of the cryovac and I placed it on my disposable cutting board. Now, one of the first things I did here was I wanted to identify the direction of the grain. We were looking there at the top side of the brisket, the fatty side. This is the lean side, the bottom, and here I'm identifying the direction of the grain. And I'm just gonna make my first slice across that grain at the very end, just to, in essence, mark the brisket. And now I'm gonna flip it back over, fat side up, and I'm gonna continue slicing across the grain. And you can just enjoy my slicing here. It's going to take a little bit to get through the flat portion. This is what they use. Now, I went just about as far as I wanted to on the flat. I might have gone one slice a little too far, not a big deal. But here you see me turning the point section, and now we're gonna do, that's called the Texas turn, and we're now gonna slice the point section into thicker slices. You start with a slice in the middle, and then slice in one direction or the other, doesn't really matter. I'm slicing to the left.
Oh.
And now I'll go back and I will finish slicing to the right. By the way, I'm using the same serrated slicing knife that Aaron Franklin uses at his restaurant. I'll put a link to this Dexter knife down in the description of the video. And now I'm done, and I am ready to begin plating this wonderful brisket. Here's the platter I built up. I've got my Franklin brisket flat and point sections here on a piece of foil to keep the paper from getting too greasy. I've got some thinly sliced onions, some dill pickles, some coleslaw, some baked beans, some potato salad. I got some local sausage since I didn't get any from Franklin, and a big old stack of white bread, as would be tradition. It's time to eat. Here's a shot of my family building their plate. This is my brother Mark on the left, my sister Amy in the middle, and my dad Gary on the right. So what did you think about the Franklin brisket?
Very good. Delicious.
Yeah?
Nice smoke ring, nice smoky flavor.
Tasty, yes.
Very tender.
And like I say, the fattier one is a little more flavor.
No knives needed.
Didn't need anything added to it.
Nice. And you, sister?
Very good.
Thumbs up.
All the bites were good.
All the bites are good.
And all the things were good too. Beans were good.
As you can see, everybody wiped their plates clean. It was a great meal. We had a lot of fun doing this. It was great to be able to bring this experience to my family, even though it was quite pricey, but it's just a one-time special thing that I'm doing here. So you could use this method, by the way, for reheating a whole brisket you make at home. If you have a big enough cooker and you do 2 or more briskets, you could freeze one and then put it in your immersion circulator. You can put it in frozen straight out of the freezer. Take that up to 185, then drop it to 165 when you add the brisket, and just let it go until it is heated all the way through. That could take several hours at that point. That might take maybe 4 hours with a frozen brisket, but it will eventually reach the target temperature of your immersion circulator, and you'll have moist, juicy brisket almost as good as the day you took it out of your cooker. So, and of course, you can also do this with much smaller quantities of brisket. You could do this on the stovetop with a big pot of warm water. You can slice brisket, you can put it into food saver bags, you can freeze it, and then you can drop those bags into a pot of not boiling water, but of water about 165 degrees, and just let it steep in there until it's heated through. Open the bag, and you've got nice moist brisket. So this is a great way to reheat a whole brisket or to reheat portions of brisket. And of course, this would also work for if you have leftover pork butt. You could also do something like that in this method. So Immersion Circulator, in addition to all the other things that people do with it, it does have its applications for barbecue. And I'm glad you watched my video and were able to see this today. So thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it very much. If you've gotten this far in my video, if you'd like and subscribe, I'd really appreciate it. It helps me out. And until next time, take care, everybody. Bye-bye.